Now, let's say before we go in, let's say some quick ground rules, right? So try to limit your electric disruptions so that you can fully enjoy the experience. We'll keep your mic and phone on mute when you're not speaking. We hope that you will be present physically and mentally for the sessions. You can raise hand to speak or respond to a prompt. And then if you have any question, please feel free to put in the chat. We will collecting them and answer you at the Q&A in the end. Okay, so now let me switch quickly to the Mentimeter, and we would like to have like some quick question for you about, let's say, how are we excited about like the sessions? Yeah. So could you scan the QR code on the screen, and then let's join the to show like what's the top one keyword that you have on your mind about McKinsey in Vietnam? Okay, professional, good. Strategy, excellent. Thought-provoking. That's nice. Our work's always thought-provoking. Let's say number, yes. Public sector, innovative. Wow. For now, I think like the professional part is like the biggest bubble that we are now seeing. Very glad to know that everyone is expecting our firm to be a professional service and, let's say, push the thinking forward. Okay, insightful, management, best practice. Wow. Oh wow, someone saying flexing in my CV. Well, that's also a selling point. Actually, McKinsey has a lot of people who go on to become like world renowned CEO. So of course, a very good flexing point. Let's see. Insightful, black suit. Well, I prefer like let's say a blue one, but it's fine. Everyone had their preference. Okay. Mm. Okay. So I think in general for this part, everyone is feeling like we as McKinsey in Vietnam is like a very professional firm. We are also like an insightful partners of like our client and to deliver, let's say, thought-provoking, um, let's say solutions and to push the thinking forward. I think that today you will learn that the CFP program will be also be something that also give you that have sense that you push your thinking forward to advance you as a professional and to let's say start your explorations of like a career in McKinsey and in consulting in general. Okay, so what are you most interested about knowing today at this VNO info sessions? So everyone, put your what would you like to get most out of the session here? Application timeline, slide the solve, case prep. Okay, networking. Wow. I'm seeing a lot of like LinkedIn connection requests today. I think that our our participants are gonna have like a great day. Mock interview, experience, interview preparations. Yep, yep. Hmm. Let's see. Wow, I think that's a lot of people are like focusing on networking and to getting more information about the CFP today. I think that you have come to the very right place for the VNO info session to do so. Yeah. So I think like everyone excited to know more about the CFP program, to know about some of the tips to prepare for the case and some of the networking. So let's get right onto it. Let me just switch back to here. Okay. So today, so I think that we have like around 5 items on the agenda. On the first thing is an overview of McKinsey and the Vietnam office. For this part, we would like to introduce Rahul, our leader in for the CFP, to present this part. To you, Rahul.
Thank you, Zoe. Thank you. And welcome everybody for the session. I think we'll keep it quick, but we'll like you guys to ask questions. Let's make it interactive. I think next 5 to 7 minutes, just wanted to spend time to share with you what is McKinsey, right? I think you may have read a lot of things, but if we take few pages to just introduce yourself to the firm. So we are one of the leading, or I would call it largest global consulting firm, right? I think when you look at it in terms of the clients which we serve in the top 100, we would be serving like 80 to 90% of the clients as you look globally, right? I think maybe few things I wanted to highlight also here is while we have been always a more of a generalist consulting firm. I think what may surprise you is now close to our 30% of the actually our colleagues come from digital technology and analytics background. So that's a one big shift which you would see, and that's where you see the non-strategy part of it. I think I saw a lot of folks, a lot of you were see McKinsey linked to strategy, but we do a substantial work on the non-strategy part, which is quite important in today's world. Been with close to now, we are saying it 90 plus year. Actually, this is 100 years. Actually, for McKinsey, we are finishing 100 years. We are present in more than close to now 72, 73 countries as we look for. So that's a little bit of what is McKinsey uh, for you. As we move forward, I think what we actually really aspire for, or what we think about, is really about helping our clients in getting a growth which is sustainable, inclusive, and also the long lasting. That's really something which we really aspire for, and we are committed to help our clients to get the growth which is sustainable and as well as inclusive and a long lasting for them. That's our mission. If we think about it, what is McKinsey for us, and what is one thread which connects all of us as part of the firm. We move forward. I think as we think about it as a future prosperity, or you can call it what we believe is a future goal, we always look at it in the three parts. Thing. One is definitely driving the economic growth for the geographies we have presence, for the society as well as for our clients. Ensuring it's inclusive and there is everybody gets equal opportunity within our all our colleagues, irrespective of the different backgrounds we come, the different experiences we have as we look at our communities, ensuring that everybody gets equal space to grow, and also I think ensuring that we are contributing to sustainability globally, where we are the leaders in terms of a thought leaders on sustainability, where climate risk, ESG, we do spend a lot of time also on that to think through let how more forward-looking themes for this world and what is more important in a long-term sustainable. As we go move forward, I think left side of the McKinsey, which you know always that we do a lot of work on strategy. We play with the financial models. We work with the CEOs and the management. I think what is important is also a right side of the McKinsey, which is equally important and where we do significant amount of work, which is actually playing with digital and technology, which is at forefront of the any transformation we do. Advanced analytics, focusing a lot more not only on strategy but realizing those impacts, or I will call it like delivering the strategy through our implementation, and where we work across markets, whether it's US, Europe, or the emerging markets where we actually spend a lot of time. So that's what I would show, which wanted to introduce you that McKinsey is not only about strategy. That's go to us. We will always be the leader to it, but we do a lot of work beyond strategy also with our clients. In Southeast Asia, if you look at it, we are present in all the majority geographies. Now, BNB in Vietnam, it's the youngest country, but we have been now close to 17 years, and the first global firm who actually came to Vietnam in global consulting firm who came to Vietnam in 2008. Yeah. Just to give you a bit of a flavor, the type of work we do in Southeast Asia, as well as actually in Vietnam, right? As coming close to the home, the different type of work we do. So it varies from, you can call it banking, where we do a lot of work on the banking across strategy, implementation. We work very closely with the public sector, healthcare to help the government or the public sector organization design their master plan. We work with the likes of telcos, the likes of e-wallets to help them think through that how they will adopt digital and analytics, right? Or it can be around as good as working with a transportation or a ecosystem to think through how they're thinking about contributing to the sustainability and contributing to the climate. So that's a wide range of work which we do, which we serve our clients in Southeast Asia and Vietnam. If I take some of the examples, I think be more real. So I think this is some of the industries. If I think about it, whether it's a government, where it's public sector, oil and gas, banking is a quite core to us. You get opportunity in McKinsey work very closely with the top conglomerates in any country which we were in Southeast Asia. To it can go to as broad as real estate, airports, the data and technology companies. So that's a wide range of work which we do. The top institutions across each of these industries, we are privileged to serve and work very closely with their top leadership. Introducing a little bit about Vietnam. We have grown like massively. If you look at it, we used to be close to, when I joined in 2016, we were close to like 25, 30 consultant. We have a big team. Close to around 40% of our colleagues are actually, can you guys hear me? Yeah. 40% of our colleagues, if you look, they come from a digital background where we have data engineers, we have engineers who do the coding. For some of the clients, we have the product owners. So it's a diverse set of colleagues we have in Vietnam. And a lot of these colleagues we hire from local universities, even on the digital side, not only in the integrated side. Also, I think if you look at the diversity, while we get colleagues from different universities, whether it's FTU, whether it's the Win universities, whether it's RMIT, from a different backgrounds, which they come from strategy, business, engineering. So different backgrounds which you would see, and a good mix of as well as the female colleagues which we have in our office, which is so that's a little bit of an introduction. What is Vietnam office for you? As you move to next is Zoe. This is type of the forums where we actually
Carol, I think we lost you.
actually pick very young talent and help them groom to be a leaders of the future in for a Vietnam as well as Southeast Asia, right? While working very, very closely with actually with the government or the Prime Minister to drive the digital agenda for a Vietnam. So that's a diverse platforms, I would call it, where we work very closely and as being as a part, all of us get privileged to work at the forefront of not only working with clients but also driving the social impacts and engaging with the top events. Yeah. If you look at some of the internal events which we do, I think at least a couple of them I will share about it where we are very passionate about. So we spend one day where we celebrate our values. We have been doing it everywhere with a discipline where Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh office colleagues they come together and we do this globally. All our offices globally they come together for one day to celebrate our values, that what we are known for, discuss, debate, and ensure that all of our colleagues understand our global values. We also believe like it's very important to, given the privilege we have of the best talent in the country, is important how we can give back to our society. So we do celebrate the day of service where we work very closely with, as a volunteer with the NGOs, with the local institutions to spend some time to also give something back to the society. we move forward. Yeah. So I think maybe I will just wrap up with this. This is our mission, which we, each of us, which we believe every day, where I think if I think about it, it's in two parts, which I see. One, for us is very important. What we look for is clients, which is core to us, where we look to create, which is a long lasting and distinctive impact. That's what we want our clients to know for us. That's something which we can do, which where it is always distinctive, there where they really feel like the bar is very high and something which can be long lasting and sustainable. But at the same time, we also are privileged to have access to the exceptional talent from a different background, with a very diverse behaviors and background. And we feel very privileged that we need to ensure that we can always excite and retain such talent to create impact for our clients in the future. So that's our mission, which is a dual mission, if you ask me, like ensuring the impact for our client, which is sustainable, but also the privilege we get by having exceptional people. We ensure they are excited and they are with us for a long time. With that, I will just wrap up. I think the quick session which we have introduction, I will hand over to Zoe. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rahul, for the introduction to our firm and to our lovely office in Vietnam. I think for the next part, I would like to introduce Chị Bỉnh to talk about the consulting fellowship program in Vietnam, and especially as we promised to give you a sneak peek of the change coming to the CFP program this year. Up to you, Chị Bỉnh.
Thank you, Zui. Can you hear me clearly? And everyone?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sounds good. Can you have to move to the next page?
Yes.
Okay. When you look on the slide, you can see it's like consulting fellowship program is like covering four main cornerstone, right? First of all, is we wanted to wish you to know, getting know more about McKinsey, right? To figure out how McKinsey consulting works and how most importantly is to see like how we can deliver the best impact for the client. And second of all, from there you can see like what if this is a career for you? What is a career in consulting like, and how you can do well in McKinsey interviews. And third, things importantly that the CFP is providing for the candidate is problem solving skill, communication skill, and case interviews, which is the like capabilities that is very essential for the consulting life. And last but not least, this is having fun. We have so many activities to share with not only Vietnam candidate and your peers, but also for international candidate from different countries in Southeast Asia. And this year we have Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand as well. We also have share sessions with the other country. So it's a very good opportunity to do the networking and develop lifelong friendship. And keep me honest here, so many friends that develop it after CFP program. And I see like so many like good friendship and development and supporting each other's post CFP and beyond career after CFP program. Okay, moving on. What the CFP offers here, I think is this to re-emphasize again. First of all, this is going to be international management consulting workshop. Second is the opportunity to sharpen your leadership, problem solving, and communication skill. And last, it's going to be this unique chance to receive coaching from McKinsey consultants. This is going to be very dedicated session delivered by our consultant during CFP weekend. You will be paired with another candidate and to do two case coaching during the session. And this is not only learning from yourself, but also learning from your peer. You will receive feedback on the ground and to see like what you have done well and what is the area to improve. And how it means to you, right? It's gonna be very inspiring and fun way to connect with your talented peers, build your capabilities, of course, for a fast track career. Even you are considering to join consulting or not, I do believe this is the most essential skill for you to have a steep development trajectory in the future. And last but not least, is like real insider and knowledge, take a guidance from our experienced consultants. Yeah, moving on. And this one, we are very excited to bring Vietnam Case Week into CFP 2025. I can see it's like we have been doing CFP for a couple of years, but this is the first year we extended CFP weekend into a week. How does this look like? Uh, we have three states covering in CFP Vietnam Case Week. Starting with problem statement and hypothesis in the state one, we will start it 1 week before CFP weekend. At that, we'll have a kick-off meeting and also have a very warm-up gathering with everyone. You will receive the problem statement that we need to solve and also for the case released to the email. And then we have a week for solution design and refinement. And then you will receive a coaching and also for like a buddy regarding to your case session providing by our consultant in the touch point. It's gonna be on Wednesday and Friday, and it's gonna be taken online. So all of this together, will be paired up with the team, and then we come into the final presentation on the CP weekend, and it's gonna be around July. We'll share more about the timeline later, but this is what you can expect during Vietnam Case Week. And on the CFP weekend, there are a couple of key main agenda. First of all, you will share the workshop and skill pool, and with our peers from the other country as well in the first morning. And on the second half of the day, there will be intense workshop and also like PR session and team presentation in person in McKinsey office in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. Sounds great. And this is the timeline for you to keep in mind. It's going to be a long one, but we hope that we're going to get together. We are here at we are approaching for the deadline for application submission. It's going to be next Monday, 2nd of June. If anyone of you haven't completed, make it now. I hope that after this session, it's going to be very clear for you what to expect it and put you into the action. And after this, we are going to have digital assessment that taken from 6 to 11 of June. Why a digital assessment? It's going to be a game, soul test, or we can so console. It's going to be fun. And you will play role and solve a couple of problems aligning on the game. And the expected result for the game is going to be after 11 and we release as soon as and we will inform you if you are going to invite it to CFP screening interview. For CFP screening interview, this is going to be a virtual interview. It's like a mock interview that's going to be taken by our consultant. It's going to be one-on-one interview happening from 30 to 45 minutes. I will share more later on. And after this, if you pass through the screening interview, Grahu, you are invited to CFP weekend, and the announcement gonna be made by 27th of June. And the Vietnam Case Week gonna be from 12 to 18 July, and our final destination is 19th of July. It's gonna be CFP week in Vietnam. Okay. This is going to be more detail about what you need to undergo to selection funnels to be selected for CFP. This is more detail of what I already shared. What to expect in digital assessment process, what a problem-solving game. It's going to be 1 hour interactive game designed to assess your problem-solving approaches very intuitively. It is not very like challenging. It's a lot of fun for sure. The format is going to be web-based game independently taken, and you only take it once. And for what to expect, that you don't need to do math. Of course, it's a couple of things going to be involved, but it's not that challenging. It's just two very basic one. What we are trying to figure from the test is first, strong cognitive skill, how you solve a problem when you're facing a situation, and how you make your decision, right? And the second is gaming experience, business background is not required at all for to taking the test. For CFP screening interview access, it's going to be one-on-one fit and mini case interview with a McKinsey consultant. So mini case means normally the full case is from 45 minutes to 1 hour. For mini case, it's going to be shortened. However, it still cover three things. First is your analytical thinking, your critical thinking, and last is quantitative skill. However, so most importantly, we wanted to see how strong leadership potential from what you have done in your past. This can be from your educational background, it can be from your internship background, and more importantly is how you bring and how you sharpen your problem-solving ability. And after this, we're looking forward to see you at the CFP weekend in Vietnam office. All right, I think that this is demonstrate the best memory and how well it's go in CFP weekend in different countries. You can see here in Bangkok, Malaysia. The first picture is from Vietnam office last year, and it can be intense. It can be very stressful at some point of time, but it can be very rewarding. It's what is the feedback that we received after the program. Sounds great. Is this like hitting you enough? We hope that there's more coming. And after this, what you're waiting for now is just like to scan this QR code, complete your application, and we will see you in the next round. Thank you, Zifu.
Yes.
And we can reshare this page again at the end of the program. No worry. We have a couple more very spice agenda, right? So I won't take more time of this.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ibin. I hope that everyone will be very excited to apply. Remember, the last day is June 2nd, which is just, I think, around, let's say, 48 hours, 48, 72 hours from now. So make sure that you have got your CV ready and just apply. It would be a great experience for you. Okay. So now let's come to the MythBuster Live Consultant, our premiere show for this info session. For this part, let me introduce Chang, our senior business analyst, to give you an overview of like the life of a consultant, your progress in the firm, and then we'll come to the panel discussions. Chang, over to you.
I do my team.
Okay.
Hi Chang, we cannot hear you now.
Okay. Sorry, guys, just a few technical.
Good. Go.
Sorry, just a few technical issues. Okay, hi. So I'm Chang again. So I think for this page, right, just want to quickly walk you through. So what is the integrated consultant journey look like? So after the CFP program, you will kind of join, our kind of typical recruitment process that Chi Bing has shared. And then you will start as a consulting analyst at the firm. And then moving forward, you will kind of take on kind of more responsibility and then roles at the firm. You will become business analyst to become senior business analyst like me today. And then, like, who knows, right? All the way you can also dream to become like partner of the firm one day. But I will not go into that details, but I will focusing on, so what is our expectation, right, in terms of the consulting analyst role. So in terms of being a consulting analyst, what you will do is that you expect to be a kind of work stream contributor and junior work stream owner, right? So you are expect to kind of deliver the analysis and content, and this will be kind of guided by your engagement manager at the moment. Of course, we're not just gonna throw you work, right, and expect you just to do it, but we will kind of provide some sort of mentorship and coaching to you. And then you kind of work with the junior clients to kind of sharpen up your answer and then contribute your work stream. I think one takeaway for this, I want to emphasize that yes, while you are kind of new to the firm, right, but we also expect some sort of like level of ownership to you. I think what really is core to McKinsey, right? It's that we are expecting you to become you really own your work stream, has a certain like level of independence and ownership. Okay, and then can you move to next page? Yes. Yes. Okay. And then as a consultant analyst, right? So this should be your kind of working schedule look like. So typically to start off the day, right, you have your kind of internal check-ins and client check-ins to do two things. So first you will do some sort of like quick pulse checks on how everyone's doing. And then second is really to show your independent, right? So what is your plan to work for the day? And after that, you will kind of build some sort of understanding of the client's problems by having clients interviews and discussion with them to really understand the problem statement. And then you will have your own kind of personal work times to kind of shape up your approach, your hypothesis, your answer. And then after that, right, you will have time to kind of really pressure test your answer in the problem solving session with your engagement managers and also your leadership. And then at the end of the day, of course, you will have your team check out where you kind of, reflect on, the work you've done for a day. And then the most fun part, right, is the team dinner. So I think Rahul mentioned that we did some sort of like public project before, and then we have a sort of project at Nearby the Sea. So it was very exciting for me. So that we usually have team dinner, and then we'll have like seafood all the time. So which was really great. And then so that would be your kind of typical day should be like, right? But like on Friday, it will be get a bit more special. So for consultant, we usually go back to our office, right, and kind of connect with other colleague, because we have been scattered the whole week in like different client sites. But then on Friday, we go back together to our office, right, and then we kind of chit chat together, have sort of like connectivity events together on Friday. And one of my healing pressure in this firm is that I munching snack from the office pastry because like Vietnam office has like the best snacks ever, no doubt. So yeah, so that is the kind of typical day of a typical week of what a consultant would look like.
Okay, great. So you see, everyone, as consultant, we are not just working around the clock with number and slide, but we also have like activities together in order to strengthen our bond and also, let's say, get our mind off from, let's say, a stressful week. So with that being said, let us go to a very exciting session called MythBuster, Consulting Life Demystified. So I think like this year we would like to, let's say, answer some more provoking questions from you to understand more like how we as consultants will do. Let me introduce you to our uh, panel. So we have Rahul, Chang, Dan, and Joyce, who will be our part of our audio, our panels. Okay, so feel free to raise your hand or type your question in chat box. We're eager to hear from you. Okay, so let's go to the first questions. This is, I think, is on the mind of a lot of you. AI may soon replace consultants. This one, a very provoking one. Rahul, would you like to take on this one first?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Right. So yeah, I think when AI and then I would say in last 2 years it's Gen AI, right? I think which has a big impact across all the industries. I would say I think what we do. So there we do hear some other times the question that given it is replacing so many industries, it will have impact. Is consulting is also where we see there will be a what will be the impact of AI and will that become a consultant one day, right? All of you guys use Gen AI, can give you a lot of cool ideas. I think as you use the tool, at least what we believe and what we have seen now, right? I think it will be a tool which will help us actually to do our job better. And I would say in terms of collecting facts and identifying some of the basics, but beyond it, I think the way I would say how the AI will help is really like knowing the power and guiding our concerned clients to actually how to use it. But it's nowhere what we have that type of work we do is really our clients how to use it smartly, but not about replacing the consultants. So I don't see any impact. If you ask me, I think what it will impact is really help us our client better. That's where we see the big benefit of Gen AI. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like for this point, I chime in a bit. I think that for this one, as a consultant, one of like the major tasks that you're going to perform is to become, let's say, a trusted advisor to your client to drive like their performance. And to be a trusted advisor, sometimes it need that human touch on, let us say, the understanding not just like the issue at like the surface, but also you understand how it emotionally and how it, let's say, the implication of it, wide range implication across like the range. And that one, I think like that is where our, let's say, as a human beings, we still excel at doing so. As being like a sympathetic listener who can not just also solve a problem, but solve it in a way that allow human to let's say our fellow humans to move forward with a better solutions and to have a stronger mindset for themselves. I think that is like an area where you will not let's say have a, let's say, a chatbot just simply talking to people that will be able to solve it. So we still hold very strong value in there, especially in terms of the human connections. Yeah. And okay. So with that worries out of the way, let's move to the second questions on we only build strategy for client and we don't implement solutions. So for this one, maybe you would like to start with Chang. Maybe with all the projects you have done so far, let us know what you think on this myth.
Yes. So actually, so I think 2 point on this meet. So the first thing is that I think 50% of my time at McKinsey, right, actually doing more of the some sort of like implementation work, right? So I really work kind of closely with clients. So whether it's building their new solution, whether it's like co kind of design with them to bring different initiative to kind of improve their performance. So that's literally like 50% of my time at McKinsey. So definitely we not just only purely like building strategy and then put everything on paper, right? But we really kind of really go hand in hand with our clients to kind of really implement this strategy and then implement different solutions that can help to solve some of their pressing problems. So I think that was the first point. I think the second point is that at McKinsey, right, I think there's a kind of a variety of project that we do. And so I think like beyond strategy and implementation, we also do some sort of like due diligence work, pre-DD, VDD, so I think what I'm trying to say here is right. It's not just strategy, not just implementation. It's really everything, right? It's as long as we here to kind of help the clients to really kind of solve some of their pressing challenge and bring value to them. So it's really could be everything, right? And then we expect you to be kind of well adapted to every types of project, when you're part of us.
Yes, excellent. I think that you have like aged very well in McKinsey. Chị Hà Giang. No, maybe not Hà Giang. Maybe let's see, how do we do it? Okay, so maybe I will share first. I think like for this one, I think that it's becoming increasingly important that we are now seeing ourselves doing not just like a strategy, but also be the one who's on the ground and working alongside with our client to implement the solutions. It's becoming a major part as our clients trust us to deliver what we have built for them and believe that with our ability to, let's say, drive the changes, we are gonna, let's say, realize the strategy, the realize that the success that we have drawn it out for them. And I think that is like my first project in McKinsey, actually an implementation one, in which we work alongside with client to drive the result. We see like the impact of our work every day. There are stressful time when you do, let's say, alongside with a client, but certainly it's one of the most rewarding period when I'm at McKinsey. Rahul, maybe also you want to chime in on this?
Yeah. So I think my first project actually in Vietnam when I came almost 8 years back. I was there with the bank which who did not have any office in Vietnam, a regional bank. 18 months, been there, built three businesses from scratch. Where first 4 months we actually did strategy, but then the remaining, I would call it like us 14 months, I was actually helping them build. Was very proud that we got the CEO, and then when we left, there was a team of a CEO plus 100 people when we actually left that client. So that's the experiences which I have gone through at many times now, and that's what it makes it special. That it's not only about strategy, but we help make reality for our clients.
Yes, thank you so much, Rahul. Uh, okay, so you can clearly see that there's a diversity of work that we are now doing, and that certainly would help when you join to have let's say that you would have a diverse experience to see the world from multiple angles. Okay, so now myth number 3. This one is very common on like the meme on the internet that we as consultant are the master of slide making and speaking in buzzword fluff. So maybe for this one, let me introduce one of our CA. Dan, would you like to take on this one? Hello, Dan. Are you on the line? Oh, well,
Hi, can you
see.
hear me?
Okay, great. We can hear you
Great,
now.
great. Okay.
Okay. Oh,
Um,
well, I think everyone's muted somehow, but okay, great to hear you. Great to hear you here.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is a very fun myth, and uh, I would say that this is not totally wrong. So we do make beautiful slide and we have a great writing styles. But I think like what I observed through my studies is that what we really want to deliver across those slides and writing actually real solution for our client, right? So I think like what really behind these slides and writing actually like our real thinking about client solution. Uh, Behind of this like hours we spend day and night problem solving internally and externally with client on the subject, and we really think hard about how we really structure our answer and deliver, communicate that in the most like easy way for people to understand, right? Because I think like at the end of the day, McKinsey client who are all like C-level CEO, they can spot right away a slide or writing with content and the one without thinking. So I think that the this one it's not completely wrong, but it lacking enough information. So I would say that if I have a chance to like fix this sentence, I would say we are good at making slide and writing so that we can deliver the real thinking and solution that we want to deliver for our client. Yeah, I think that
Yes.
other member in the panel can also chime in as well.
Yes. So Joyce, what do you think about this?
Oh, okay. So I just got unmute. So on this point, I actually want to chime in a little bit. So, like I just mentioned, I joined as a CA for just 2 months. But then my first 2 week into the firm and my first study, I spent like a day building deck, but it's not a deck, but just a slide. So the fun thing is that although before I joined consulting, I joined different business competitions. I built a lot of different pages, and I can did it like in 1 or 2 days. But when I joined McKinsey, I have to build a page for like a day, and even got reviewed by associates, and I have to rebuild it again. So and from that point, of course, today I can build more pages, but on that point, I just want to make a strong opinion that so building page by itself is not the main deliver that McKinsey have for our client. It's just a wrapping. And the value behind that we try to deliver is actually the problem solving, the short thinking. And then we also try to structure the problems and bring the clarity. And the way for us to deliver clarity to our clients is actually through displaying it on a well documented pages so that we can discuss together. So on this point, I think that okay, if you have a very good slide making skill, it's gonna be a super plus for anyone who joined the firm. But it's not only the aesthetic skill that it required, but behind that you need to have a lot of
problem-solving ability, as well as clarity in thinking, as well as ability to structure your thoughts. And you bring all of these things together and put it onto documents. So that's what actually we valued at the firm.
Yes, yes. So for this part, I think yeah, it's an excellent point that both Joyce and Dan made today. So to resume, to let's say summarize, it's not the slide making that is like the really that count, right? It's the thought behind those slides that really count. And it's very important that if you have a great idea, you need to know how to deliver it in a way that would excite people and would compel them to actions. And I think that is what like we are delivering here at McKinsey. It's not about we making some beautiful pages, right? But it's about pages that compel people to act based on the understanding that the information being put there is a logical and a well thought out process that can deliver result to you. I think that is like a very important point to make here. Yeah. So I think with the 3 myths that we already put there, would be great if there's any other myth that you think that we should bust. Just please put it into the let's say the chat, and we will try to answer during the Q&A. Now, let's move to the mock case interview. I think this part is like a very exciting part, right? So I think like the way that we are going to do it is that like first we would like to introduce someone in the audience to raise their hand and to do, let's say, a little bit of the mock case interview with us. Then we will have a little bit of like the feedback sessions, and we will then show you how it should be done. Like maybe not always like the best, right? But the way that maybe is good to do it. Okay. So maybe Julia, to you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. All right. My name is Julia. I am a SBA. I've been in the firm for about, almost 4 years now. I also joined via the CFP program, so it's really nice to actually be here with everyone. And I've also worked with most people in this call as well, so nice to see you guys again. All right. So we have a few minutes with each other, and hopefully it will be a few minutes well spent, right? So as we said, I will also have a friend here that will join me in a minute, but first would like to, interact a bit with you guys. Anyone that wants to try out a case with me, that would be much appreciated. If there's any volunteers, we're here to show you what a typical case interview would look like. Oh, there you go. No, but no more. Okay, I don't have to talk anymore. All right. All right. All right. Okay. Sure. Awesome. All right. Can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself a bit? Can't tell your name from just your chat. So I don't know if that's a volunteer. Yeah, you're on mute.
Oh, I was chosen. Thank you. Hello everyone. I'm Vân Thiên. Yeah, I'm a first year master's student, and very
right. Really nice to meet you. If you're okay, I think we have a few minutes. Perhaps we can practice a case with each other to know what exactly everyone's been talking about for the past hour, right? You're okay? All
yes.
right. All right, it will be a very, very exciting case. We'll just run through one question. We'll see how everything goes. And at the end, we'll give you some feedback, okay?
Great.
All right, you got some pen and paper ready?
I'm preparing. 30 seconds. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Oh, 30 seconds? How about we start now? You're okay?
I think she just went and grabbed like
All
some.
right, good now.
Okay.
Good now.
Seconds. The way I asked now, it's 10 seconds. Okay. All right. Let's start. Okay. Okay. So our client is Conservation Forever. They're a conservation-focused NGO, non-government organization, right? And they have helped us to prioritize restoration and conservation efforts. Okay, so the degradation of nature is a major cause of the twin global climate and biodiversity crisis, right? That's why McKinsey commits to pro bono resources to nature conservation worldwide. So this client, right, CF for short, they were formed in 2011 at the start of the UN Decade on Biodiversity. Right? Their aim is to permanently conserve large areas of land and ocean over the next decade. Land use planning in these natural areas will be conducted in a way that it considers biodiversity outcomes as a priority. Right? So this will require restoring natural habitats, ecosystems, things like that, right? Biodiversity, or the variety of life on Earth at the genetic, species, or ecosystem level, has enormous economic intrinsic value, but it's also really essential to human well-being and our economies, right? Provides essential ecosystem services such as clean air, food security, fresh water. Investments in biodiversity can therefore contribute directly to reducing poverty and safeguarding sustainable development. Right. However, biodiversity is in severe decline, putting its intrinsic value and its ecosystem services to indigenous people, local communities, and economies worldwide at risk. These large conservation projects at the scale required to reverse this loss include significant upfront financing, complex legal frameworks, and extensive coordination between all of the parties involved. This includes civil society, government, NGOs, donors, etc. Because of the complexity and magnitude of these projects, right, the conservation efforts must be carefully selected early on. Our client, CF, shortlists 3 candidate geographies. 3, okay? The first one is the coastal area of Peru. The second one is the steppe grassland of Ukraine. And the third one is the mountain forest of Uganda. Okay? So as part of our pro bono study, we've offered to help them prioritize these geographies and the activities it should focus on. All right. One question for you. What factors could the team consider when choosing one of the 3 specific geographies on which to focus on the conservation efforts?
Okay, thank you. That was a very, very long prompt.
That was
I would say.
a long time.
Okay, so
yeah.
to summarize, I understand that biodiversity is very important. It provides lots of values to people and the community. And our client is an NGO who wants to start a nature conservation project, which might require lots of financing efforts and needs lots of coordinations between government and other stakeholders. And they are considering 3 options to start their nature conservation project. The first one is the coastal area in Peru. Is this correct?
Yeah.
Okay, the second one is grassland in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one, sorry, can you repeat the third options? I didn't really catch it.
It's the mountain forest of Uganda.
Okay, mountain forest, Uganda. Okay, thank you so much. So our client really need to prioritize one of the 3. And your questions here is what factors should I consider when prioritizing these projects, right?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, can I have 30 seconds to
of course.
capture my thought? Thank you.
I'm sorry.
All right. Are you ready? I'd
Um,
be keen to hear your thoughts.
okay, so to think about the factors to prioritize, I think I would like to categorize the factors into financial factors and non-financial factors. So for financial factors, I would love to consider the upfront investment to start this kind of project and the money which will go to maintaining the project. So like into two categories for the financial factors. So for the investment, upfront investment, um, I think it's necessary to consider the source of funding that we will be having, the source of finance, because I believe in each countries and each project, we have the availability of the funding is different. Also, they have different way to each government, each country has a different way to provide the necessary money for this kind of project run by NGO, and also we may have to consider the cost of finance as well. I'm not really sure about the revenue stream of the our client NGO clients, and we need to take a deeper look. But if it means that we have to take some kind of loan to run the project, then I think the cost of money will really play a major impact here. Also, um, about the second part of financial factors, which is maintaining. So in each project, like coastal area, grassland, and mountain forest, we will have different way to and the nature of the projects are very different. So the cost of maintaining this kind of project will be different as well. We might have to hire experienced staff to do the job. Also, we need to consider the cost of running the conservation efforts in this after we start our project. And for the non-financial factors, first I would think about the urgency of the project, and the second is the sustainability of the project. Um, the urgency here means that we can somehow compare um, which problem is more urgent. Okay, so it could be like the coastal area in Peru is very is degrading so fast, so much faster than other grassland or mountain forests in Uganda and Ukraine. So in based on the urgency of each options, so we may have to we may choose the optimal one. Also about the sustainability, as I mentioned, um, I'm talking about the like the kind of value the project will bring to the community, to bring to the recovery of the nature in this kind of area where the project was done. Yeah, I think um,
Is that all you think?
yes for now.
Cool. All right, good. Thank you so much. How do you feel?
I feel a little bit overwhelmed because there's a lot of information to process.
Right. Understood. Okay. So yes, it is a bit of a longer prompt, longer case. But then again, also in real life, clients also have very lengthy problems. So just a good thing to practice. But thank you so much for volunteering, right? Let's go through a quick round of feedback, and folks, please do also write down your answer if you want to have some feedback as well. I think first of all, right, I think you were very proactive in terms of asking for the information that you need and that you feel like is important to you. So for example, you re-clarified a few areas of the prompt that you may not heard right or misunderstood. So I think that is a good habit. Keep on doing that. I don't know how you're taking notes, but everything in bullet points, things like that, just listening to everything, especially in such a long prompt, right? Just know when to listen for keywords. So when you hear things like, okay, this client, their whole reason of existing is conservation, right? So you register that in your head. Don't need to write down every single thing that I just told you, but important information you should be able to register, right? And this just comes with practice. I think you got the keywords right. So that's really good. I think the second thing is you were also not shy in terms of asking for a bit of time to properly register the information and graph your answers, right? I think you guys should always be able to ask for that. Everyone thinks at a bit of a different pace, right? Maybe containing that time so that you don't also lose your interviewer is something to keep in mind. 1 minute for you might feel like a bit of a 3 minute for them, right? So just try to react to things as well. So that's point number 2. On the answer itself, right? I think at the first layer, you were very sort of sneaky, for lack of better word, right? Everything you said is mutually exclusive. It's not overlapping. And is it exhaustive? Yes, it was. Financial, non-financial, yes, that's exhaustive, right? I think what you could do better and is when you go one lever down or even one lever below that, right? It's really easy to get into a rabbit hole of things, and that also plays with your mind. So just practice in terms of knowing where to kind of stop and to elaborate, okay, that this is the branch that you're looking for, right? If I take an example, you're saying that under finances, under the financial factors, you have upfront costs and maintenance costs, which is great, right? That's all there is that you need to consider. I did hint in the prompt that there's a lot of cost concern, financing concern, right? And really that's all you need to say. And you should ask, a few questions like, what are the costs in this area? What do I use that for? What are the costs for maintaining or protecting the area? Things like that. Instead of going into how do you get that money to begin with? What do you use that cost for? Is already sufficient. I think where it could be a bit sharper is under the non-financial bucket. I think you're hinting towards the right thing. But if you recall back, and this is also because the prompt had a lot of information, right? The things that are very crucial was one, the words that we repeat a lot is economic of that area. Second is the biodiversity of that area, which is essentially your urgency, right? Which areas have the most biodiversity endangerment that we need to step into. So putting a very clear name to the sort of L2 levers would also help you structure everything a lot better as well, right? Instead of naming things such as urgency, sustainability, recall back to the prompt and realize if there's any keyword that you missed, right? Biodiversity has been repeated a lot. Economic of that area, social economic is also repeated a lot. Climate is also the twin problem of this prompt is also repeated a lot, right? So just try to think about that. And then I think just to push yourself a bit further, right? When you solve, if someone asks you to solve point A, is solving for point A enough? You should look for a bit more in terms of, okay, what are the other things that you can consider? There might be something that you're missing. And usually the danger here is in the non-financial bucket that you have, right? It could really be anything. You could stop at that main lever, but show that you can think a bit more and do, not just show, right? Actually think a bit more. What are the risks associated working in these 3 areas, right? How are things are gonna work out? Like just think a bit more in terms of that. Maybe there are political elements. If you remember those 3 names of the countries that you've rightfully asked me for, right? Of course, there are political areas that we could be looking at that could endanger the project as well. So those things I would push you just a little bit to have a more holistic answer. All right. Does anything not make sense to you? Is there anything else that you want to clarify?
Thank you so much for your very detailed feedback. There's only one concern here.
Yeah.
So I try to make things exhaustive and exclusive as possible, like
Yeah.
by dividing into financial and non-financial. But you said you advised me to extend on my answer. But if I introduce more, like okay, I'll very move on with non-financial, and now I'm moving to the risk, and it's kind of destroy the point of mutual exclusive
Yeah.
and.
All right. So as I said before, I think your L1, financial and non-financial, is actually MISI. That's good. Where I said that it could be a non-MISI is your non-financial bucket. The things that you listed, right, are, if I'm correct, urgency and sustainability.
Yes.
Could I argue that it's not exclusive? Yes, I can. Right. That's where the dangers sort of come in. And instead of striving for a fully exclusive answer in a conceptual bucket, the point here is perhaps you push yourself to show that you can think more than just like the top two that's coming up. That way you will probably not be exhaustive, but you show that you can think above the step 1, step 2 that most people would think about.
Right? Awesome. Thank you so much.
No worries. I saw a couple of answers in the comments as well. I think the same comments would apply for you guys, right? And it's very different because you're typing rather than Vung here that is speaking. But do make sure that when you elaborate your answers, really do elaborate it and really think about how am I really pushing myself to think the most that I can. All right. Okay. So I think now is the time for the same mock case, if I'm not mistaken, with my friend Joyce.
Yes, Julia. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so I think that I've also listened to the case previously and also have time to jot down some of my thoughts. So how about just do some quick opening and then we can jump into the case. You don't need to reread the case for me. Yes.
Okay, I don't want to. Okay, so let's assume that you've read the case, right? I'm just going to repeat one thing. Our client they want to explore one of these 3 locations and prioritize, right? So what factors could our team here actually consider when choosing one of the 3 specific geographies to focus their conservation efforts on?
Okay, so thank you, Julia. This is a very interesting thing, and I believe that the impact will be tremendous if our client can choose the right candidate. So the question is very clear to me. Just to ensure that we are aligned, so let me recap what I've heard. So CF wants to prioritize one geography out of the 3 candidates, including Peru, Ukraine, and Uganda. And this conservation effort will be a large-scale and long-term investment. And our client goal is to maximize the biodiversity outcomes. And we should approach this with a consideration on the level of complexity, financing needs, and stakeholder coordination. So on this, I'm just checking, are we aligned on the problem statement?
Yeah.
Okay, very clear. So before that, I think I will have one question to clarify. So regarding our client CF, do they have any constraints on the budget and timeline for now that we need to factor that in? Maybe like a 6-month horizon or maybe like 1 or 2 year horizon for this investment?
I think for the purpose of this project, let's just assume that they will have to make a decision within the next 2 months. The project can span about 1 to 1.5 years. However, budget, of course, as all businesses or NGOs do, is always a constraint.
Understood. Very clear. So let's say I have already had 3 minutes to structure my thoughts. So I think there are 3 main things I will look into, and I will frame the problem this way. So number 1, I would look into the factor of what would be the level of impact that we can bring on choosing a specific geography. And specifically here, I mentioned the non-financial impact, the biodiversity impact. which is the key impact that our client look to generate. Number two is what will be the level of feasibility for our execution. So can our client actually deliver outcomes on the ground? And number three, I will look into is the financial consideration. Is there any leverage that we can have? Is it gonna be a smart and scalable investment? So those are the three main things I will look into to evaluate which geography would be the most suitable candidate. So the level two of each of the considerations. So starting with biodiversity impact, I will start looking at what will be the level of richness of biodiversity at that specific regions. So is there any specific endangered species that we can help to protect on choosing that specific region? What will be the level of threat? For example, illegal logging or illegal poaching that is occurring in that region that we can help to reverse. And then, and the third one would be what will be the potential for us to restore the habitat of that region. So considering these three different measures, right? Number one is biodiversity of the species. Number two, the level of threat. Number three, what is the restoration potential? Then what will be the accumulative impacts I can have on those three? If it's a big one, then I think we can go forward with that one option. And if the region may not have such a comparable impact, then I think it will be our second priority. Moving on to our second consideration, which is the feasibility for execution. So I'm evaluating, number one is whether the regulatory factor or political factor will enable us to implement the investment here. So is it going to have a stable political environment? Is there policies or regulation in place that will help to support our conservation effort? Number two, I'm thinking is relating to the level of alignment between stakeholders. So you did mention that one of the tricky point for a client is to have to coordinate among different stakeholders regarding the governments, the donors, and the one who operating the project on the ground itself. So how easy it is and how supportive they are towards our project. That would be a main thing to consider, so that our investment can be a successful one. And regarding the final consideration is our financial and operational leverage. So I'm thinking whether which geography would lend us the cost effectiveness. What would be the upfront and ongoing cost maybe per hectares of the region that we are trying to preserve? Number two is there any available co-funding that we can call for as we enter that region? For example, like in Peru or maybe in Ukraine, we have more investors who are interested in the conservation topic that we can tap into. So that is significant, because if we want to go into a longer term of investment, I think it's better to have someone to co-invest rather than invest everything by yourself. And the final one for financial and operational is that what will be the level of risk? Would it be operational risk that would derail the projects? Yeah, so those are the three main things that I'm having in my mind for now. If you would like to have my opinion on deep dives onto any of the specific geography, I'm happy to deliver. But given the sake of time, yeah, let's also move on from the session, or maybe have a recap of what we can share with our attendants today. Yeah.
Great. Great. Okay. Yeah, thank you for your answer. It was a great answer. It was an example of pushing yourself just a bit more than the first thing that you think about. Right. So I appreciate like the level of thought that you've put. It's still relatively new. You've identified the primary focus of the case, which is biodiversity, right? And you've also added elements that are a bit more practical, like execution and executional risk. I thought that was great. I think a combination of your answer and Bun's answer is exactly what everyone should be striving for in a case example, right? Being clear, being direct, being structured, but also putting in just a little bit of extra thought beyond that first line of thought that you have. It will take your case answers to a different level, and practically on the ground, that's what we also try to do as well. So it's also just good practice for you before you step into this line of work. All right. I think that is all we have for this section, I think. I think back to the if you want to coordinate. Thank you everyone for following along.
Okay, what a great performance. So thank you, special thank you to Julia, special thank you Joyce, and also to Van, the one who let's say volunteer. Hope that it has been like very useful for all of you to see like how the let's say the interview process is going to happen, and especially like on the way that you should deliver your answer. The answer is part of the success, but the way you deliver it is also let's say critical, because let's say you have a great idea but you cannot deliver it, it's not going to be let's say very easy for you to like push for impact. So always bear that in mind when you enter the interview room. And one key thing that maybe let's say that we can do the Q&A, but one key thing is that always try to be yourself when you step into that room, because if you start pretending to be someone else, if you're pretending that you are, let's say, communicating in a way that is like not yourself, then it will immediately show when you become, like, let's say, nervous. So relax, everything will be fine. Our interviewer are a very nice person. I think like most Joyce and everyone who have joined the interview process for the part, I think like we all love, like, let's say, love the conversation we had with our interviewer. Okay, so let's move to the final part then. I think let's move to the Q&A. So I think let's see. Yes, have a sip and Q&A for any questions. So I think that we already have some of the thing that we already put here. Yep. So let's see. Here Q&A. I think that we have the time for around, let's say, 2 or 3 questions. So first, what framework or mindset do the most? Oh, hi, Fuan. Are you raising hand for asking the questions?
Oh yeah, I just have a really like a short questions. Thank you. I just want to just say thank you so much, Anh Duy, chị Joyce, Julia, chị Ben today for hosting the panels. Like really insightful. I love the case. I hope this is an appropriate question to ask. I just want to double down on the case interview setting. You know, like we don't have the fortunate opportunity to have like a clear interviewer like Miss Julia today. In the case where interviewer have like a very strong accent, you're not like really familiar with the accent, and you know, like given that like a very long prompt like if we had today, but with not very clear communication from the interviewer, and like sometimes you worry about like asking to them to repeat themselves a little bit too much. How would you recommend? Because we have a lot of seniors consultants today. I was really curious, how do you like handle this sensitive situation when you know we're still making sure that you fully understand the question and maintaining the flow of the conversation and the prompt and the case interview without asking a little bit like too much of repetition. Thank you.
Okay. So for this one, maybe Joyce, would you like to take it? As I think like you take it more recently than me. My memory may be completely rusty already.
Okay, so you were asking, sorry, because I was just reading the comments, but just to recap your question. So you're asking that in case that we listen to a very long prompt and we are concerned that we don't want to ask the interviewer to repeat themselves, what we should do in that situation, right?
Yeah, and also like the interviewer have a very strong accent. Like for example, they have like a very
Understood,
strong
understood.
French accent. You cannot understand anything.
I believe
And how
that
would you?
today, yeah, understood. I believe that even today when I work on the case, a lot of my leadership also have a very strong accents. Some of them are Indian, some of them are like Russian. So it's fair, it's fair. my thinking would be that before I also did case interview, and my first case interview I was really stressed out, and then I didn't perform well for the first half. But then my interviewer, she's very accommodating. She noticed that, and she tried to facilitate a bit of a conversation with me during the case interview. And rest assured that all of our interviewer would be in that way, so they knows how stressful case interview can be to you guys. So they would try to accommodate, and it's important that you keep your head cool, maintain to be very confident, and don't be shy for asking. Like, there's no stupid question, even if you are in the case interview, or even if you're working as a consultant in real life, there's no stupid question. So if anything you are unsure about, when in doubt, just ask. It's okay to ask them to repeat, and then if it's better that you don't just simply ask them, hey, can you repeat the questions, but try to recap whatever you can capture, and then push the message. Are we aligned on this, or am I saying the right thing, or have I clarified to your point? So I think it's a better way to frame your questions, rather than just simply asking like, oh, can you have to repeat? Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was super insightful. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, anyone want to raise hand to ask questions?
While people raise hands, I think this one, right? It is a sensitive topic, but it also goes both ways, right? So I think tactically, what you would do is whenever you're in a conversation with someone, empathy is a really good rule of thumb here. One is you are also part of that conversation, right? Try to manage the pace at which you're speaking. Again, if Joyce, as Joyce says, right, if you don't understand anything, the better way to frame, like, hey, instead of, hey, you're not saying this right, or I cannot hear you, frame it a bit about how you're perceiving the information. Am I hearing this right? Have I got your point completely? Things like that. I think people are more than happy to clarify, but also it's worth looking at things in a bit more empathetic way on both sides, right? Because it could also be you on the receiving end that would have that be in that situation. All right. Yeah. Next question.
Okay, I'm seeing that maybe Lynn, would you like to turn on the camera, introduce yourself a bit, and then have us the questions?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
I'm my place is a bit messy now, so unfortunately I cannot turn on my camera. So I have one question, that is, I'm under the assumption that the whole program is in English, and I was wondering, because it seems like there are other people who are not Vietnamese, and I myself haven't been in Vietnam for very long, so I'm not that confident about my Vietnamese skill. So I was wondering, is the program strictly in English, or is there also, or should I prepare to like study Vietnamese well as well? And also about the team dinner, is it better to like speak Vietnamese with the team, or also like the whole dinner is also in English? Thank you very much.
Yeah, so maybe for this one, Chiben, would you like to take it, or should I, let's say,
I can take it.
yeah,
Very interesting questions, and I want to have a very inclusive answer. Is like English should be fine, and because as you see, like we have so many colleges from the other offices as well, so we do have English in our daily conversation, and also even in our networking event, and across the program is gonna be in English. You can take it as a chance to learn Vietnamese as well if you wish to, but well, be confident with what you are having right now. Yep. And sorry, I see a couple of questions around like eligibility for applying for the program. So sorry, maybe I will take this chance to answer this across. So there's a question around if this is like the freezing time it's a 12-month or 18 months freezing application. So the pre-cone-off period is just only apply when you already enroll into assessment process. And what does this mean when I say assessment process? Which is when you take the digital assessment. So this is so-called like this is like you started to enroll into assessment process, you get the result, and that's the results gonna be valid for 1 year, minimum 1 year. So that's why we encourage you to take like 12 months to apply again. Or otherwise, your score test gonna be applied for all of the other application as well. Yeah, I hope this answers your question. And if any chance you are not selected in the CV screening round, so be confident to apply for the other role, because sometimes it's not about your skill, not about your work experience or background. It's maybe it's say, some other factors that happen and make into the decision. It's really hard because all of the application, all of you are very unique and high up capable. Okay, so I will stop here. I hope it's gonna be well answers related to the cool period.
Yeah. Okay. So I think like in the spirit of time, maybe just one final question from Valerie. Would you like to turn on camera, introduce yourself a bit, and then have the question for us?
So hi everyone, greeting from Dublin, Ireland. I'm currently a master's student and I will graduate this year, so I'm really excited to have this opportunity to apply for this role. And my questions, I think it was the one that you were reading, but then some other questions were jumping. So I just would like to repeat the questions, which is which framework or mindset do most successful consultant here tend to use when approaching clients' problem? Because like during my experience before as a consulting intern, I use a lot of pastel and like Porter Diamond model framework or like top up or like bottom down just to gauge the problem and to understand it more. But during the interview, like for example, the case study, I see that like people just have to have like more, I don't know, like more like random kind of thoughts. So I just wonder, is there any framework or mindset do you like usually use when you have this case? Thank you.
Yeah. So I think let me tackle this one. So I think like the short answer is that there will be no such thing as like a framework for own consultant, right? The most successful one is the one who can go really beyond the framework and to think of like a problems in its uniqueness. Because as you can see, as consultant, we are going to solve like a lot of, let's say, a diverse set of problems in which we need a combinations of different aspects and to think of it in like a multidimensional and multidisciplinary way. Um, the pastel, the let's say all the framework that we like let's say have known for, they are good at the starting point, but that will not be the end of let's say that how are we going to solve the problem. Sometimes a problem is not being solved by itself based on the framework, but rather by combining the let's say the thinking in framework with the experience that you have in our industry. For example, there's a lot of anecdotes that you can use to connect the dot, and the most successful consultant are the one who is able to leverage what they already know to plug into, let's say, the equations and try to figure out like, okay, given what I already know, given that here the constraint, what are going to be the best way forward to for my client? That's usually the way that people do it. The framework, let's say to reiterate, is a good starting point. But the final point is always about, so with that being said, what is the way that you are gonna solve this for the client in a unique way that deliver the values? Client, they expect us as McKinsey and let's say more broadly as consultant to be the one to guide their thinking, to be, let's say, thought-provoking in the process. So let's say conventional thinking would not cut it. We need to really push forward our let's say knowledge, our experience, gather it from around, let's say all around the world as a let's say global firm as in McKinsey, and deliver unique solution to client in combinations of all of the different elements, right? So I think that is like the way that I see it, that how it's make like some of the most successful consultant here.
Thank you so much. It's really helpful. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So thank you everyone for joining the session today. I hope it has been like a wonderful session for you. So we hope that we will be able to welcome you to the, let's say, the CFP program this year. Please scan the code on the screen to, let's say, apply. You have around 72 hours left, so polish your resume, do everything that you think that it would be necessary, and just put a button. Like, life is less a cliche, but too short to be afraid of anything. So I think now it would be great to, let's say, turn on the camera. We would like to take a one group picture for all of us. That would be great. Okay, let me, okay, I think I will leave here like a little bit, 1 more minute, so everyone can scan and apply. Also, you can find on LinkedIn the link to apply to the CFP program also. Okay, let's see. Okay, now let's do the turn on the camera and we should see everyone. Let's see where I can see everyone here.